How's it going, guys? My name is JSE and welcome back to Met Eish. Today we're going to be having a look at Shoprite and we're going to go through what the company does, some news surrounding them and where we think the share price will be in the future. But before we get started, please remember that none of this is financial advice. This is a blank cup. Blank cups. Put your logo on my cup. Should you require the assistance of a financial advisor, please contact a registered financial service provider. Also, please remember that all investments carry the risk of a loss, and my videos are meant for entertainment and education purposes only. Another thing, just to be full disclosure, Shoprite is a share that we hold in the Met Eish Easy Equities account. So we own the stock. We like the stock, just so that everybody knows. Please also hit the thumbs up button to like the video and subscribe down below to join the Met Eish community to get more content from us and keep updated with all the videos we upload. You can also follow Met Eish on Instagram at Met Eish. So let's get into it. Founded in 1979 as a small group of 8 supermarkets in the Western Cape worth 1 million rand, Shoprite has grown into a retail juggernaut worth 150 billion rand. Shoprite operates over 2,800 stores across 18 brands, including the namesake like Shoprite, Usave and House & Home in 14 African countries, and employs over 140,000 people, including members of our family at one point, making it South Africa's largest private sector employer. Shoprite's goal is to provide its customers at every LSM with the best possible value, as well as creating a one-stop shop kind of environment where they offer things like your retail, furniture, financial services, pharmaceuticals as well, all in one place so that the consumer doesn't have to run around to multiple different places. Shoprite's CEO, Pieter Engelbrecht, joined the company in 1997 and spent 10 years working in its project office, where he worked on initiatives like the money market counters that you can see at Shoprite and Checkers stores, Usave, and the liquor shop outlets that Shoprite operates. He then joined the board in 2003 before taking over from former CEO and chairman Whitey Basson in 2017, having spent 20 years within the company at a management level. Let's have a look and see how the company is structured. Shoprite is split into 3 segments. First is its consumer-facing brands, and those are the brands that we automatically associate with Shoprite, such as Shoprite, or Checkers, Checkers Hyper, Checkers Fresh X, and House & Home. There are 18, I'm not going to list them all now. The second segment is their branded value-added services, and these include things like hospitality, money markets, and their ticketing services, where they provide catering services to sporting venues, hotels, etc. And the third is basically the heart of the company, what keeps the company going, and that includes Shoprite Properties, Logistics, IT, and Shoprite Investment. So now that we've had a look at a brief overview of the company, let's have a look at what they're offering. With over 2,000 stores in South Africa alone, it is safe to say that every South African at one point in their lives has been to a Shoprite store. Shoprite has, despite the challenges faced by the company during COVID-19, still managed to grow its premium offering, which is Checkers Fresh X, into more locations, which it hopes will draw some market share away from the Woolies crowd, while still benefiting from the unfortunate but inevitable shopping down having to be done by many South Africans through its core and lower LSM offerings such as Shoprite and Usave. So now that we've looked at the brands, let's have a look at some of the challenges facing the company. The challenges facing Shoprite are not unique to Shoprite. The two biggest challenges are challenges which are faced by every company and indeed every South African in the country. The two biggest challenges which are facing Shoprite at the moment are the growing unemployment rate and the unstable electricity supply. On the growing unemployment rate, Shoprite in 2020 absorbed 200 million rands worth of inflationary costs, which means they did not pass those costs on to the consumer in core items such as bread, milk, pap, rice, etc. They also supported 119 community food gardens and supported 3.9 million soup kitchens. In terms of the electricity supply, Shoprite has decided, along with many of the miners in the country, that the best way to combat this problem is to rely as little on Eskom as possible. And they've decided to roll out numerous solar-powered plants at some of their locations, with a view to obviously expand, if possible, to as many locations as possible to reduce their reliance on our ridiculously unstable electricity supply. On the topic of solar power, Shoprite has added 39 rigid refrigerated trucks, those are the truck and the trailer together, to its existing fleet of 749 trailers, meaning more than half of Shoprite's 1,247 trailers are solar powered, which is reducing the company's carbon emissions by 500 tons a year. Not energy related to Eskom, but just a little fun fact. The company does face numerous other challenges, and they are actually beautifully presented in the risk assessment section of their integrated annual report, which I will link down below. It's just beautifully laid out. Everything has got icons and labels and a risk rating from 1 to 5. You can check it out, link down below. Go and have a look at their integrated annual report for 2020. Just incredible work done by Shoprite management. Now, those are just the challenges which the company faces in South Africa. But it also has a large footprint in the rest of Africa. Now, when we're talking about Africa, the vast majority, I mean vast majority of Shoprite's revenue comes from supermarkets within South Africa. I mean like 78%. So it's little wonder then that with COVID and all the lockdowns at various stages in various countries, that the company has decided to reassess its African holdings. The company, apart from COVID, is dealing with a hyperinflationary environment in Angola, numerous other issues within the continent. So what they have decided to do is to reassess each and every single store and subsidiary on the continent and view whether they should either keep it operational if it is feasible to keep it operational, shut the store down, or shift, which is the preferable option, shift to a franchise model. With the total contribution to group revenue by the rest of Africa only being slightly over 10%. It's understandable that the company is relooking their position in these different countries. So let's have a look at some recent news around Shoprite. Shoprite has recently sold out of its Nigerian interests completely, so it will no longer have the same footprint it had in Africa's largest economy. As well as withdrawing from Nigeria, Shoprite has joined with Gift of the Givers to help combat the Johannesburg hospital's water shortage crisis. So if you go to Shoprite, you can donate either bottles of water or cash, and Shoprite will ensure that that money or that water gets delivered to one of the hospitals in Johannesburg currently facing a water shortage through the Act for Change fund. So when you are at checkout, you can just add a minimum of 5 Rand to your till slip. You can just ask your checkout assistant and they can help you with that. Shoprite has also just opened its first pet shop. It's called Pet Shop Science and it's in Brackenfell in Cape Town. And it's just another way that Shoprite is trying to access or increase its exposure to the billion Rand a year pet food and food accessories market in South Africa. Although there's very little information around the store at the moment, there's only one. I've only seen pictures of it. It does look pretty high-end. It's very chic. It looks beautiful, but I'm sure more information will come out. It's literally just opened, so more information will come out in time. And the biggest news surrounding the company, in my opinion, in the last few days, apart from the Nigeria withdrawal, is that Shoprite has added 2 new board members to its board to go along with the recent addition of Wendy Lucas Bull as the board chairman. These 2 new board members are Nonkululeko Gobodo and Linda De Beer. Both highly respected, both come with extensive board experience, and both are CAs. There is very little I can say about either of these ladies to contribute anything to their vast reputations already. But for those of you who don't know who they are, Nonkululeko Gobodo founded her own accounting firm back in the 80s and grew it into the firm which has now become Sizwe Nsuluba Gobodo, the 5th largest accounting firm in South Africa. She's been on the board of Clicks, she's been on the SARS audit committee, more committees and boards than I can list. She is a pioneer and trailblazer in every sense, an incredible addition to the Shoprite board, as well as Linda De Beer, who has served on the boards of companies like Aspen Pharmaceuticals, Momentum, and Tongaat Hewlett. Both ladies will be an incredible addition to the board in their respective fields. And now on to the financials. When looking at the financials of any company, I am a huge fan of Cameron Stewart, and so I look at the 5 key attributes that he looks at as well. And those are, number 1, top line revenue growth. Number 2, earnings growth, and we look at EBITDA as our measure for earnings growth. I then look and see if there is good, strong free cash flow. We look at the enterprise's debt, and to find the debt, we look at net debt to EBITDA, and we then have a look to see if the share is well priced. And to find that out, we look at whether the share's enterprise value to EBITDA is higher or lower than what it is relative to itself. So, let's have a look. Before we look at the financials of the company and what we think a forecast of the share price could be, I don't know the future. 10 years is an extremely long period of time. Many things could happen. I am just estimating what I think will happen based on the numbers provided to us by Shoprite in their annual financial reporting between 2017 and last year. So please take it with a pinch of salt. But this is what I think the share price could be in 10 years' time.
So this is the spreadsheet I use to analyze all of our investments, and you can see right on top the 5 key indicators we look for. So let's see how many we can check off for Shoprite. So number 1, top line revenue growth. In 2014, the company's revenue was 102 billion Rand, and in 2020, revenue was 156 billion, and so that gives us an average growth of 53%. So number 1, check. Number 2, earnings growth, we are going to use EBITDA, and in 2014 EBITDA was 7.5 billion and it grew to 12.7 billion in 2020. So number 2, check. 3, strong free cash flow to equity, which is how much money you would hypothetically be entitled to if you owned the whole company. And again, we can give it another check. 4, debt. So we're going to see net debt to EBITDA. Now we want net debt to EBITDA to be below 3 times. And you can see even with Shoprite taking out a lot of debt last year, they are still well below that 3 times debt to EBITDA level. And lastly, is the stock well priced? The average enterprise value to EBITDA over the period is 12.5 times. And at the 2020 level, it was sitting at 9.3. So yes, it is currently well priced. I would be happy with buying anything under 11 if I could get it at that price. Now let's look at the price estimate. We used a combined EBITDA market multiple and free cash flow to equity per share approach. And from the EBITDA to market multiple, we got an estimated price of 404 Rand and 85 cents. And from the FCFE to share, we got 565 Rand and 72 cents, which once averaged out gave us an estimated share price for 2030 of 485 Rand and 28 cents, or roughly a 215% increase over the next 10 years from Friday's closing price. So if we look again, just go over our 5 key indicators. Top line revenue growth, check. Earnings growth, check. Strong free cash flow, check. Low debt, check. And is it well priced? Check. So we get 5 out of 5 for our 5 indicators.
So, in conclusion, South Africa's economy has grown at a glacial pace, while the population has grown much faster, meaning on average, the average South African is getting less value for their money. The richest South Africans have ever been was in 2014, and some shocking estimates from the International Monetary Fund and from the World Bank estimate that South Africans will not reach that same level, just getting level to 2014 until after 2030, meaning there is more than 10 years of slow or no growth, which are obviously going to put an incredible amount of pressure on the average South African. That, coupled with the ridiculously high youth unemployment rate, means that South Africans are going to have to, unfortunately, look at cheaper alternatives when they do things like grocery shopping. And I think under those circumstances, it is companies that offer the most customer value which will come out on top. Companies which are seen to have a genuine interest in the communities that they serve. And I think Shoprite is the best of a group of companies that put their customers as their top priority. And I think it is going to continue to grow into the future. So, that being said, I am exceptionally happy. I like the stock. Shoprite gets a thumbs up from Met Eish. But please remember, this is not investment advice. I am not a financial advisor. This is a blank cup. So, thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to see more videos like this where I take deeper looks at companies, please write down below which company you'd like me to have a look at next, and I can get right on that. If you'd like to see more videos from Met Eish, please like and subscribe to the channel to see more of our content. You can also follow us on Instagram, like the page on Facebook, join the subreddit on Reddit, just Met Eish is everywhere. Thank you again for watching, and good night.